Hey guys and gals, boys and girls, authors and author wannabes. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Your old buddy Tim back again, as usual, to dispense a little wit, wisdom, and advice on the topic of writing, authoring, agenting, editing, marketing, all those ING words that go along with the topic of writing and selling your own books. Doing something a little different today. I've got my buddy Dale Roberts is on the program, and we're doing basically we just had a little chat about the state of things, and I recorded it, and some goodies came out of that, a few nuggets of gold. If you don't remember Dale, he's been on the program before. He is an author, marketer, but he is also my go-to guy when I want to know about things along the lines of publishing on demand, paperback books. Dale does a lot on Kindle, but he claims to make the bulk of his income, which is pretty sizable, selling paperback books using Createspace. So I thought it would be interesting to have Dale on and just talk about not only the differences between digital publishing and KDP and paperback publishing, but kind of the state of things in general, because the landscape is changing. Createspace is now owned by Amazon. Pronoun has gone away. You've got Drafted Digital. You've got Smashwords. And so Dale and I just had a really great chat. So this was kind of a long interview. So you're either going to be seeing part 1 or part 2, depending on what it says right here. There's about 45 minutes between the two, and I encourage you, start with part 1, then go to part 2, and it'll all make a lot of sense. So, hey, I hope you enjoy this. Hey, as always, if you like what I do here on the channel, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, because I do these all the time, and God forbid you miss this, because this is an entertainment value. So click on subscribe, click on the little bell notification icon, and YouTube will let you know when I do this. Also, down in the description below, you're going to find a link to my website. I got it set up now. Finally, people just harping and harping. You can now go to my website, opt into my newsletter list, and you can download a free copy of my book, Angel of Mercy, just for doing that, just to reward you for being so damn smart. I'm going to give you a copy of one of my books. So anyway, this is a 2-part interview. You'll see part 1 or part 2 right here. But watch these. Dale has a lot of good information. And if you're interested in expanding from just doing KDP to doing real publishing, print-on-demand type stuff, we even talk about doing self-stocking and self-supplying of your own books. So very interesting stuff. All right, sit down, shut up, stop whining, and get ready to watch either part 1 or part 2 of my chit-chat with my buddy Dale Roberts. Here we go. Really, one thing I do want to touch on is the quality of the book, quality of the product, the formatting, how the book looks, how it, because a lot of people, they'll just type something out in a Word file. They won't bother to edit or format it. They upload it, and then they wonder why it doesn't sell. Talk a little bit about the quality of the product that you're selling, regardless of the platform you're going with.
It's gonna, man. We're gonna have to do this for like another hour, I have a feeling, because well, here's the deal: is a lot of people came into this business, and I think about a few years ago, and it was the big rush. Mm-hmm. And quite a few people were doing it through Kindle, and they were just as guilty. Some people going over to paperback, and it was like they were smearing poop on paper and then putting it onto the market and wondering why it wasn't selling. You can put this great book description. You can have the best SEO titled book, or you can even have this stellar cover. But if your interior's garbage, you're going to get hammered by 1-star reviews. And guess what? Some people do the look inside feature that's available in most online retailers, and they'll take a look in there, and if it looks like garbage, who's going to spend your $9.99 on your book, or that 99 cents, or for that matter, even get your free book if it looks like garbage? Formatting is critical to the long-term success of your business. If you're just trying to go for a short-term win, here's one. Burger King's hiring. You can go ahead and make some money quick right there, and all you got to do is just say, would you like some fries with that? And hey, no knock on Burger King people. This is not me being disparaging about that. There is a time and a place for that, but if you're just coming into this business for a quick buck, well, you can get a quick buck anywhere. Right. Prostitution is quite lucrative, I hear. A little illegal, but
we've done well.
Yeah. No, you have.
I can't even keep a straight face when that one. But here's another thing is when you upload your book to CreateSpace or whatever platform, and you check it in the digital viewer. I know a lot of people who just let it go and go at that. I'm like, order a copy of the book, look at the paperback, because let me tell you something, whenever they do that conversion, sometimes things look okay on the digital viewer, but when you get an actual paperback, guess what? The formatting is screwed. We have a mutual friend that I edited his book for him, and on the digital viewer, it looked perfect, and then when he ordered a copy, it was just screwy. So don't shortcut things when you upload your well-formatted file, and always look at the help files. I mean, they tell you exactly how to format it. Hell, they give you templates. But once you've got it uploaded, always order a hard copy of that book so you can just go through every page and make sure the formatting is correct, because it will screw up and you'll never even know it.
I think that a lot of people want to really they want to expedite the whole process. And it's almost like, oh, I'm at the end of the marathon. Let me just go ahead and skip this step. Every step is just as vital as the next and the last before it. And ordering a proof, having a copy of your book in your hand is much different than looking at it as a soft copy. It's going to print different. It's going to have a different type of a cut than what you see in there. The binding, for instance, the gutter. Not too many people know what gutter means. And essentially it means that area that is bound together that you otherwise can't account for when you are doing your layout and your pages and such for a paperback book. So that's why it is important. You know, I try to, anytime I put out a book, I'll order that proof so I can have it in my hands, because I can't tell you how many times where I'm like, oh gosh, I found an out and out mistake. Like, for instance, like the page numbers were off at one point. And I'm like, I would have been super embarrassed had that gone out to market and somebody picked this out where they're going, oh, your pages are off. And hey, look, I've even made big time mistakes, even with ordering a physical proof. And don't skip that. That's so vital.
You mentioned the page number. One of the mistakes that I see on a lot of proof books is they do not start the first page of a chapter on the right-hand side.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
The gold standard.
Yes. I mean, if you look at any book, your content, your chapter always starts on a odd number page on the right-hand side. A lot of people have it. Otherwise, the chapter starts on the back page. You don't ever want it to start on the back of the page.
It's just weird.
Well, it is just weird. Another thing is I've seen people use really weird fonts, really crazy, exotic bullshit fonts. And here's the big one, Dale, is if you're using images in your book, I guarantee you it's going to look different on the digital viewer than it is on the hard copy, because those images just shift things around like crazy.
Yeah. And here's the thing too, a little bit of a tip to everybody. When it comes to images, you can't use the same DPI, lower resolution image that you do on ebook as what you would for paperback. I really recommend that. They say on CreateSpace 180 DPI. To me, I still think that's low. Go for 300 DPI, because this actually comes from actual print shops that I talked about. Before I came into this business, I was actually researching some of the vanity press options, because I was thinking that was the only way I needed to go. But 300 DPI is just the gold standard. You must have 300 DPI. And here's the other thing is, if you provide a full color picture for your proofing process, so in other words, I upload a full color document, but I'm putting it out as black and white or grayscale, that will also decrease the resolution on that. So you need to make sure if you're going to black and white, you're going grayscale, fix it before you upload it, because otherwise you're putting the resolution of your images in the hands of the printer, and it may come out good, it might not come out so good.
Yeah, let's explain. DPI is dots per inch, and that is the standard by which images are sized online. For example, the image you see here on my computer, images you see on websites, those are 72 dots per inch. When you print, you need, and I agree, 300 DPI is what they consider it's actually a low high resolution. I like 600 DPI. But the difference between the two is if you take a 72 DPI image and print it It's going to be blurry. It's, and I've seen people try to enlarge those images, Dale, and it just looks horrific.
Or stretch them. Oh, man. Oh, let me tell you.
Yes.
Folks, it's called ratio. Keep the ratio in check. You don't need to be making yourself look like you're El Stretcho Man or something.
Yeah. Well, that's an important point, though. I mean, if you are doing a book that requires images, because, again, this mutual friend of ours wanted to use a lot of screenshots in his book. And I'm like, dude, those are 72 DPI. Well, he wasn't overly concerned about it, but
you were like,
I'm like, hey buddy, I'm going to cash the check. I don't give a crap what, but do keep that in mind. And, a lot of people, Dale, are doing coloring books and picture books. I know you've done children's books and doing those. I mean, that's a whole different animal than uploading a Word file full of text, right?
Yeah, and it's not an easy win. The Grumpy Gus series, there's a good reason why I didn't stick with doing that children's book series, because it was hard. It was hard. I would much rather sit down and write my next fitness book, because it's so much easier than doing a children's book. Because I thought, I can be able to write a children's book easily. Well, putting together great images and putting together things that were high quality as well made a huge difference to me. Yeah. And I couldn't just phone it in. I thought for sure it was going to be a quick and easy win for me, but
it's a lot of, I mean, you and I have had this conversation. That's one of the reasons I don't do children's books. I'm a cartoonist. And one of the reasons I don't bother doing those books is it's just too much work. It's a pain. But I think the moral to the story here is, before you publish on Createspace, Drafted Digital, Smashwords, any of those platforms, you need to make sure that your book is formatted correctly. You need to read their help files. You can download the template if you need to, because if it's not, you mentioned the gutter. The position of your text on the right page is in a completely different marginal position than on the left, because you've got to leave room for the gutter down the center. Well, unless you set up your Word file like that, it's going to print oddly. So, Dale is right. We're all in a rush. We all want to do it quickly, but you have to take the time. If you're doing print on demand, or hell, even if you're doing just digital printing, you've got to read those help files and make sure the product is formatted correctly. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. And if you don't feel like going through and learning the whole process, I don't hold it against you. Just hire somebody to do it for you that is a professional. And don't go to Fiverr. Don't go to Fiverr.
Yeah.
Every time that you hire a $5 person to do your page interior layout, an angel dies. All right? You don't want an angel die.
Every time I think about that, I remember the old Andy Kaufman. No, it wasn't Andy Kaufman. It was Robin Williams on, what was the movie where he pretended to be a woman? Mrs. Doubtfire.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
He's doing a job interview, and he's doing this for, and he goes, "I am Job." And she's like, "Do you speak English?" "I am Job." And to me, I'm like, that's everybody on Upwork. Are you prolific in English? "I am Job." Just crazy. Obviously, I'm the only one that gets that reference, but I'll drop Mrs. Doubtfire in here. The point is, on Upwork, there a lot of folks there who claim to be able to write and format are not really capable of doing so.
Yeah,
and that's why they
really
say,
rough.
"I am Job."
Yeah, I'm sure we're going to get a few thumbs down on this, and if that's the case, hey, you Fiverr lovers out there, it's okay. There's some great gigs on there, but let's just be honest.
I'm not a Fiverr hater, buddy. I got this done on Fiverr. This is my favorite $5 I ever spent. Is that silly little thing. I get a lot of graphic stuff done on Fiverr. I would never get a book written off of Fiverr or get editing, because, well, hell, I'm an editor and a writer. But
I would have an intervention with you if you edited your book through Fiverr.
Yeah, no, but if you're looking for like cover design, graphics, I'm a huge fan. Audio stuff, I get a lot of audio stuff done on Fiverr. But if you're going to look for someone else to format your book, not that there aren't people on Fiverr who can do that, just make sure they've got really good samples to show you. That's my big thing with Fiverr. If you go, look at an account and they have no examples, also look at their feedback rating. Okay, because there are good people there. Let's not go to the extreme of saying there's not, but geez, I think the bottom line is you got to have a handle on it yourself, Dale. You've got to keep, if you do send something over to Fiverr to get it formatted, just don't upload it and push the button. Do some Q&A. You were going to say something about Google Play earlier.
Oh man, woof. Google Play. So we lost the distribution for Pronoun, and the main reason why I used Pronoun was because of Google Play for books.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's quite stellar. It's a great choice. The problem is Google Play shut their doors to all new publishers and books about 3 years ago. I remember I was still fairly new into the business, and I was like, I don't care. You know, my thought was I was just only working on the Amazon platform anyways at that time. So
any idea why they did that?
There was a lot of scammers and a lot of just uploaded like plagiarized books.
Yeah.
So they were like, that's it, everyone out of the pool. They shut it down, and now for a limited time, and I'm not being paid to say this, just want to come out and say it, is Google Play is accepting a limited amount of publishers. So if that is something you're interested in, I really highly recommend you go out there, get your account, because here's the deal. Last time they shut the doors, they honored the old accounts. They still allowed them. So for instance, Ava Fales, my assistant, she had a Google Play account from that long ago, and she actually held on to it. So she had something that was grandfathered on an old deal. So I would really recommend, you know, whether you plan on using it today or next year, go to Google Play, get yourself an account set up. I make a substantial amount of money. I told you through Pronoun already, and essentially I only use Pronoun for Google Play. Literally, that's all I used them for. And I like it. I actually, no, I take it back. I love it. And one book that I would say I was getting maybe on a good month, a dozen sales, I was getting on a daily basis up to 200 downloads per day.
Wow.
So it's a stellar option. Google Play Books is really good. And why not? I mean, get to the world's largest search engine in your favor. Yeah. You know, Amazon schmamazon.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the greatest benefit is anything with Google is going to pop up in a search engine over anything else. Does Drafted Digital or Smashwords distribute through Google Play?
Drafted Digital doesn't, but they're working on that one. Kevin kind of covered that in an interview not too long ago with me, where I said, you know, what's the deal? And he said, patience. They really try to very carefully vet out all the options for distribution. They want to make sure that it not only is in favor of their clients, being, say, you and me, but also for Drafted Digital, because obviously they need to pay their bills. They need to make sure that it works for both of them. What was the other option you said?
Smashwords.
Smashwords? I don't know. We're going to have to ask Mark about that. If they plan on going to Google Play, that would be really a good, a nice little perk. They already have tons of avenues. It's one of the reasons why I like them. And like some of the most random I've never heard of, I will get sales on these random small online distributors. Yeah,
how weird. Hey, we're coming up on the 45 minutes here, so we're going to have to I think those that we haven't bored to death, they're going to be there soon. What do you see coming down the pike? Anything on the horizon? You've got your ear to the ground. You talk to a lot of people. What's coming up, if anything, that's got Dale excited? Other than the obvious, don't go there.
I think right now what's getting me excited is my dome is getting really white in this.
You're excited about audiobooks. We talked about this on another show, and I think that's a big thing to look forward to. But for authors, let's just wrap it up with a moral to the story. What are your best tips if I'm an author looking to get my book out there, do some print on demand or distribute through digital, Drafted Digital or Smashwords or any of those platforms? What should I do and what shouldn't I do?
Let me speak to two different types of people that might be watching this. Let's start with the newbie self-publisher. If you're a newbie self-publisher, go to where the big dogs run, and that's on Amazon. Just get your stuff, your first book, get it fired off. You need to be focusing on all three platforms of ebook, paperback, and audiobook. You got to get it going. One way or another, you need those three things going. Now, for the veteran self-publishers, that's the people that have had at least one book under their belt, if not 6 to 12 books underneath their belt. Start to diversify your portfolio. Start to look at other options, because you may not be very successful on Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing, but you may end up being stellar on Apple iBooks. There's a lot of people over there. They still make millions of dollars in books. So if you're a veteran self-publisher, somebody who's had quite a few books already published, consider your other options. Look at those other options, because KDP Select may not work out for you. Well, get it off that stinking program. Stop getting paid half a cent a page for your book and getting $5 for someone to flip through it and maybe some rank influence. Get it over into the other aggregate publishers and start to test out. That's what has been really my defining element in my success within this household, is the fact that we diversify, we try out other things. So that's really, my big message, my go home thing. And remember, self-publishing isn't just limited to what you write. Think outside the box.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Hey, Dale Roberts, if folks want to know more about you and everything you've got going on, where do they go?
They're going to go to selfpublishingwithdale.com. It's really simple. It's got a nice little blog. And guess what? There's even a featured post with Tim Knox in it.
Oh, wow. That rose the property values considerably right there. Hey, Dale, this is fun as always. You and I think we need to get into the habit of doing this quite a bit. I'm not a big fan of the live stuff, but we get a lot of good content when you and I just turn on the camera and shoot the bull like this. So let's do it again soon.
For sure, man. I appreciate you taking the time with me.
All right, buddy. Talk to you soon.